Hello everyone, my next video is about a mission that took place November 4th, 2010. I believe it was a Thursday morning. I remember it was morning primarily because I just went over to the dining facility and picked up some breakfast in a to-go tray and just went back to my hooch in my tent little room there and to eat. Of course, I believe lead aircraft that day. So I had my radio like we always did. Had it sitting on my desk, it was on. So I'm sitting there eating my breakfast, probably on the internet, doing whatever, checking emails. And all of a sudden I heard the door of the building, the tent that we were living in, come flying open, and somebody yelling down the hallway like, Mitch, we got a mission. And it's like, my initial response is, what the F? My radio didn't go off. So obviously I was in an immediate panic. So grabbed my stuff, ran out to the aircraft. One aircraft, the second aircraft was already running, so now I'm really panicked that they had been out there for a minute already. And my aircraft was ready to start turning engines. So threw on my gear real quick. My crew chiefs got me set up, got my weapon and everything, locked my door, I strapped in and finished cranking up. And we took off. Of course, I'm apologetic to everybody. I'm telling everybody over the radio, I'm like, I'm sorry, my radio never went off. You know, what the hell? Pretty sure we flew north of Fob Shank. That's what we were working out of at that time. And it was probably a 15 or so minute flight. We get up there, it's just on the outside of a village, and notice that there's a very large graveyard. So they have a tendency, they being the Afghanis, they litter the graves with a lot of like banners and I don't know, scarves and flags and stuff like that. So I'm coming in, the smoke grenade is right on the edge. And so I'm trying not to land on the cemetery, of course, but that was really the clear spot, but we didn't land on it, but we were directly on the edge, and all this loose stuff, flags, banners, all that stuff was just blowing everywhere. So I was kind of freaked out about that. That stuff was going to get in the aircraft, get in the motors, blades, whatever, but it didn't. So we get on the ground, the dust clears, and I was flying right seat that day, and everything was off to the left side. So the left door opened up and I looked over my left shoulder to the back, and I see our medic and crew chief walking with the ground troops, and they're carrying a already zipped up body bag. So immediately my heart dropped, and immediately I start blaming myself, thinking that, you know, if I would have heard that radio call, could have made a difference. You know, this soldier could have made it. And so of course I'm grief stricken, but I know we got to finish this mission. And so we load everybody up, do a before takeoff check, and we get out of there again, and at the same time blowing everything all over the place, all over that cemetery again. And we're headed back, and of course, regardless of being in a body bag or not, the medics, depending on the situation, you know, how bad it was or whatever, the medics are going to do an assessment, obviously, to make sure that somebody didn't miss something and possibly they're still alive. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case here. So we got back to the hospital at Shank, landed on the pad, and we had American flags on board. We always did. I don't know if any of the other platoons did it, but we always carried American flags on board our aircraft out of Shank. And when we were working out of Ghazni, we had both American and Polish flags on board, along with clips. And if anybody passed or we picked anybody up that already passed, before we would even open the doors on the aircraft at the hospital, and we would wave the ground crews off until it was taken care of, our crew chiefs and medics in the back would make sure that they would leave our aircraft, properly cared for. They would take the flags and drape them over them, obviously, and clip the flags to either their clothing, the bag, or the litter, or whatever that they were laying on. So obviously when they got outside, the flag didn't blow off. And then once this preparation was done, then we'd open the doors and allow the ground crews to come up. And we had already told them what was going on in situations like this, and they would set up whoever was out there. Some would be making like a little passageway, some on each side, and everybody would present arms or salute as the heroes were going by. Something we always did, like I said, just made sure everybody got the proper respect that they deserved. But anyway, this was one of those missions I may have mentioned before that we occasionally had actual doctors on board, and this time we had, I believe we had a doctor on board, but he got off at the hospital and he stayed there, and we took off. They gave us a thumbs up to go, just leave him there, and he could get a ride back. And so we went back, filled up with fuel, went back to the pad and shut down and did a post-flight and got ready for the next mission. And probably about an hour or so later, that doctor came back and he knew I was hurting. Of course, obviously all of us probably were, but so he came to the operations building where we were, found me and told me that regardless of how fast I ran, how fast we flew, there was nothing we could have done. The injuries the soldier sustained were pretty much, he was killed instantly, unfortunately. So obviously he was trying to make me feel better, but you just never feel better. You want to do everything you possibly can to get them back safely, get them back safe to their families and their loved ones. Obviously, in this case, there was nothing we could have done. But that's why our team, we had an average takeoff time from radio call, the Medevac call, to wheels off the ground in 7 minutes, regardless of time of the day, in the middle of the night, darkest of dark, crappiest of crappy weather. 7 minutes was our average response time for wheels up off the ground. And we actually, our platoon sergeant said it perfectly. He said, we were an orchestra and we were a finely tuned symphony, and we had a lot of phenomenal operations that we did, that everything just clicked. Our teams were great, our crews were great, we all work great together. And if there was anybody that wasn't a good fit for the team, they got moved around and they went to other places, and we got other new people in to work with us because we were a very busy team out of all of them. But that was this mission. Like I said, it was November 4th, 2010. Another rough day, but I think we had another mission probably a couple hours later. Obviously, it wasn't as bad. And actually, I'll look at my logbook here. Later on that day, we had a point of injury, which meant that wherever the individual was injured is where we actually went to pick them up. They weren't brought to another location, a hospital or anything like that. And it looked like we picked up 2 local nationals on Route 1, on Highway 1, which was the main north-south artery in the entire country of Afghanistan, and it was heavily traveled, heavily targeted, and constantly IED'd and blown up, and there was more patches on that road than a Pennsylvania turnpike. But yeah, that was just 2 missions that day. And on the next day we had 2 missions. And on the 7th of November we had 4 missions throughout the day. So I will be going through all my missions, not all my missions, but the ones that stand out to me the most. So, and this was one of those. So if you have any questions or comments, please let me know. And please like the video, please share the video, please subscribe to the videos or subscribe to my channel. It helps, gets the story out there more. The more people like it and share it, the more more visibility it has. So thanks again, everybody, and have a great weekend.